April Hunter, like, I know she's not done much as an amateur. I fought her as an amateur, lost her a 3-2 split. In my eyes, in a lot of people's eyes, I won the fight. She's now fighting on all these shows and such, and yeah. But
Yeah.
we'll leave that to the ring, innit?
And what do you think? Have you watched any of April Hunter's fights? I think she's
I have, yeah, I
fought.
have. And you know what? Hats off to her because, you know, like, she puts on a right performance. Do I think I'm better? 100%. Do I think I'm smarter? Without a doubt.
Hi everyone, I'm Sasha from Women's Fight News, and today I'm joined by professional boxer Paige Goodyear. Paige, how are you doing?
I'm good, thank you. How are you?
Good, good. So I know you've just been training, so how are you feeling at the minute?
Oh, my body's aching all over, to be honest, I can't lie. But it's what you have to do as a professional. You have to train 2 days, like twice a day and stuff, like maybe sometimes 3 times a day. But in the end, it's worth it. I feel like it's a different ball game to the amateurs, but it's that next step that you have to take.
Yeah, definitely. Like it just becomes really intense, doesn't it? Like you say, you have like multiple training sessions per day.
Yeah, like it's continuous, it's like non-stop. Whereas with amateurs, like obviously you have your gym where you go to like maybe 3-4 times a week at a push. But I just feel like when you're training, you're at the gym every day. Like my friends ask me, "Oh, do you want to do this? Do you want to do that?" And I'm like, "I'm sorry, I'm at the gym. Like I can't." It's quite hard, and I feel like sometimes I feel like I'm being a bit selfish, but they understand. You know what I mean? It's my career now. It's my life at the end of the day.
Yeah, 100%. And I suppose that's like part of the sacrifice you have to make to be a professional boxer. Yeah, because you're going to miss out on, like, say, events with like friends and family, but at the end of the day, it will be worth it in the end.
Yeah, like at the end, I'm still only a baby. Like I'm only 20. Like so, like my mates are like going out every weekend and stuff. And to be honest, like I'm glad that I'm not going out every weekend because I feel like I'm at that stage in life where I know what I want and I know what I'm gonna get. Do you know what I mean? So I'm pushing for something that I will put everything into. And I feel like I did really well in the amateurs, but it's time for that big step now.
Yeah, because you had such a successful amateur career, didn't you? Like, I mean, at what age did you start boxing and what age did you become amateur?
I started boxing around 10. I did do kickboxing for a couple of years beforehand, but then my brother ended up quitting. So, like, you know what happens when your brother quits. Like, I just followed him. But then my uncle knew this Maka, my coach, and then I joined there. And at first, it was just to like lose weight, and then I just loved it. Like, they couldn't get me out the gym. Like, honestly, I don't know what it was. I could have picked like dancing or something, but I just started to get punched in the face. Yeah, it's just crazy. It really is.
Yeah, and there's never like an explanation for why someone gets into boxing. Because when you think about it as a sport, it's quite a strange sport. Like you say, there's so many 100%, other options.
Like I've got a brother and I've got my 2 sisters. Like I'm just so different to them. Like my sisters are quite maternal, so and like they've got kids each, and then my brother like loves the party life, and I'm definitely the sporty one in the family. And I don't know what it is. You just get a buzz from it. Like that's just the buzz I get. So yeah.
And like I say, it's better than like you say, your mates could be going on nights out and stuff, but it's good to know at like 20, you know what you want to do and what you want to achieve.
100%. Like obviously I know after my fight there's going to be a massive celebration party.
Yeah.
But of course. But those are the nights that you live for. Like I feel like I would have deserved that from all the training that I'm going to do now. Mm-hmm. Like I feel like if I was out every weekend, I'm not getting much further in my career. I'm not doing what I want to do at the end of the day. Mm-hmm. I feel like day in, day out now, I'm doing something like that I'm passionate about, that I want to do for like the next decade of my life. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly. And I think like, especially at 20, so many people will be jealous to be 20 and know exactly what you want to do. Because that's the time when everyone's like, they have no idea what they want to do in their life. Yeah,
to be honest, like, I never thought I'd turn over so early. I thought I'd be about 23, 24 before I turned over. But I think COVID did have an impact as such. Because I don't know, it just, like, I was working through COVID. It just made me realise that what I actually wanted. Like, I did not want to be working like all the time. It just wasn't me. Like, from not being able to go to the gym, and I just missed it so much. I couldn't do what I loved, and then as soon as the gym started back open, I got into like a routine again, and I was smashing it ever since.
Yeah. What was the reason for deciding to turn over? So, because obviously you are very young, and was the Olympics ever a possibility for you, or was you always just wanting to be a pro?
Yeah, there were. Obviously, I've been with England boxing a few years as an amateur, like since I was 15, won a few titles, been to like world championships and stuff. So I feel like I've experienced it quite a lot. I've been up GB as well. I was previously on like assessments and that, and in fact, like I did have my final assessment coming up. So when I had like this offer come in and then assessment, it's like, what path do I go down? And it was, it was probably the hardest decision of my life. I'm not going to lie. I had to sit long and hard, like talk to the people I was closest to, talk to my coach, talk to other like boxing coaches that have like saw me growing up from the flag squad. Like it's like the West Midlands group. And I just thought, right, I feel like this is the right stage. My coach quit his job so he could train me anytime, like to work around me. I feel like my style suits better as a pro. And I also feel like as well, I like to be in a routine whereas it suits me and what works best for me. And I spoke to a couple of people that was up like Sonny Edwards and stuff that has been up Sheffield before we turned over. And they felt like as if it was like a sort of a army routine. It was like continuous, and he said that it just got a bit boring for him because his style is like up and about and like in and out. Like you can't predict anything that he does really. But if it wasn't for lockdown, would I have turned over so soon? I'm not sure, but I'm glad that it's happened because it's made me realise what I want. In fact.
Yeah, and I think everything happens for a reason. Like, I mean, COVID affected everyone, but I know, it was really tough on boxers. It was tough on the whole pathway of getting to the Olympics. Obviously, they have to change the qualifying system. And
I'm quite close to Caroline Dubois, who's just recently gone to the Olympics. And she definitely affected like the people that going up there and stuff. And it was quite hard, obviously, to watch because they could still train through lockdown. Whereas our gyms and everything was still closed. And what annoyed me the worst was, when like the pubs and everything opened and like the gyms wasn't still open.
Yeah.
I was like, oh my God, this is just typical government work or something. I was fuming, but it is what it is at the end of the day. Hopefully it's all gone now. We can move forward.
Yeah. And like I say, when you're looking at, especially in the women's game, like the whole pathway of having to be an amateur, go to the Olympics, turn over, that's not really necessarily the pathway in women's boxing. We're seeing, Terry Harper's a world champ. She didn't have a huge amateur background. There's tons of girls out there who don't have it, but you have loads of amateur experience anyway, and very great success even without the Olympics.
100%. Like, obviously there's the likes of Terry Harper and stuff that have been there, and they haven't had much amateur fights, but they've still managed to win a world title. And hats off to her. Like Terry Harper is a great fighter. Like she's working hard with Steffi Bull. Hopefully get some sparring with her soon, to be honest. Hopefully I can sort that out soon. But I feel like my amateur experience will come and be good for me because I've experienced things that other boxers haven't experienced. I do know that like the professionals is a different kind of sport as such to the amateurs, but I feel like it's a same sort of mindset. You have to be on it 24/7. It's like when I went to the World Championships a few years ago, you had like a 10-week training camp leading up to it, going to different countries for sparring and stuff, and then at the end of the day, it was all down to you in the ring. The opponents, the only difference is with the opponents, obviously you know who you're going to be fighting. With the professionals, with amateur, you didn't know, so you had to plan for everything. Whereas it's a bit more mentality, really. Like you can analyze stuff and do stuff that way as such as well.
Yeah, because I always think that's what's tricky in the amateurs is that like until like sometimes the night before or the day of, you don't know who you're fighting. So you say it can be difficult, but there are times in the pros where you're seeing like they don't get the fight announced till like 2 days before, which would just stress me out. I would hate that because the benefit of being a pro is knowing.
It would stress me out too. Like I think my dad, like I definitely want to know who I'm fighting. So I just want to have everything like perfect. You know what I mean? Like I've waited so long for this moment, and I don't know. I just think it's the right time now, and I definitely see some big fights out there that it really excite me. Though there's a few rivalries that I think would be a good match.
So what division, what weight division are you going to be fighting in?
I'm going to be fighting that like welter and welter, depending on like what fight and stuff.
Yeah. So you can move up and down a little bit.
Yeah.
Who are these fights that you've got your eyes on? That's what I want to know.
So to be honest, like I know a few out there like April Hunter, like I know she's not done much as an amateur. I fought her as an amateur, lost her a 3-2 split. In my eyes, in a lot of people's eyes, I won the fight. She's now fighting on all these shows and such, and but we'll leave that to the ring, innit?
And what do you think? Have you watched any of April Hunter's fights? I think
I have, and you know what? Hats off to her because you know, like she puts on a right performance. Do I think I'm better? 100%. Do I think I'm smarter? Without a doubt. She has got the experience as a pro now, so she's had a few. I think she's had about 5 bouts or something.
I think so.
So I'm going to give myself some time to switch over and settle down into the pros, and then that's the fight I want. 100%.
Yeah. How good of a domestic clash is that going to be?
Like that's what I mean. It's a good domestic clash. Like it'll be a good one.
Yeah, and the fact that you've fought at amateurs as well, straight away you've got that little bit of rivalry and
100%. Like the press conference, the build up.
Yeah,
I'll just be ready to go. At the end of the day, I'm fighting for whoever my coach, my manager puts in front of me. I'm not going to be one of these people that calls world champions that out 24. Like I'm not like that as a person, but I know that I'll do the best I can do with my capabilities. At the end of the day, that's what it's about. I want to, like when I'm older, I do like that's the aim. I do want to be a world champion. But at the minute, it's all about like, getting the experience, getting the right fight, and switching over as a pro.
Yeah, I think that's a benefit because you're only 20. There's no rush. I think we're seeing sometimes there's a big rush for someone to have a world title shot after 5 fights, but then they don't end up fighting a lot because they won't defend the title against decent opponents. It becomes a weight.
100%. Yeah. Like you said, I am only 20. There is steps to take because obviously it's going to be a long career. At the end of the day, I am a female as well, so as I can't be fighting at the age of late 30s. Like I don't want to be doing that. I want to have a good career, and hopefully it's a long one till like the age of 30. So I want to be like one of these people like Katie Taylor who can win a title, defend it how many times, and be known like for these little kids down there like coming up through the ranks. Like I go into my boxing gym and all the little girls like watch me train and stuff, and it's amazing.
Yeah. Is that one of the reasons that you wanted to turn over, was to be a part of this? I mean, women's boxing is huge at the minute, so you're a part of inspiring the next generation coming through.
Yeah, 100%. It did have an impact on it, but not even just for the girls. Like you go to the gym and like all the lads are like, "Oh, what's your last name again?" And I'm like, "Goodyear," and he's like, "Oh, I've heard of you before," and that. And you go to like all the amateur shows and you see all the kids coming through and stuff, and it's like there's just amazing talent always coming through. And you see, and like, I still see myself sometimes as a little kid coming up and watching, like when I first come to the gym, I watched my coach like train, and because he used to be a boxer, but he had a brain injury. So that's why he had to stop because he couldn't fight again. Then he opened up his own gym, thankfully, or obviously joined. And then I was the first girl actually, and he never trained a girl before, but I changed his mind, so, and then the journey began.
Yeah, and that's what's amazing. Like, I think kind of your generation would have been kind of the first few girls like coming through. There was so many, or I've spoke to so many boxers where they were the first girl in their gym. Whereas you're hoping now, like the younger generation, there should be groups of girls coming through, because the likes of you and the next, or the era before, like Katie Taylor, yous are all on TV now. Everyone can see you. We can see that female boxers are a thing. So there's more girls wanting to do it.
Yeah, like with the beginners class, like it's like split. It's like half girls, half boys, and it's good to see, to be honest. Because like you said, when I first joined, it was just me, just me with all the lads. And then, like, when you go into sparring, they'd look at you like, I don't want to hit her. And then my coach would be like, you need to hit her because she's going to hit you. Like, it's one of them. Like, to be honest, it's nice to see young girls coming through and wanting to do it as such, because before, like, young girls would come and go. Do you know what I mean? They wouldn't stick at it. They'd come for self-defense and such, but not to just fight. It's one of them now where I feel like women's boxing is constantly improving. It's getting better, and it's going to be something to look forward to.
Yeah, definitely. But I think it takes quite a special person. Like you say, you were the only girl there, and then you've got to spar the guys and they don't want to and stuff like that. I think it's easy then for a lot of girls to be put off and walk away because you're like the minority. So to stick at it, I think that's quite difficult to do what you've done.
To be fair, I was quite lucky with the lads in the boxing gym because they was all friendly, they was all good. I looked at them like my brothers, to be honest. Some of them, a couple of them are still there now, like training alongside me. So it's nice to see that progression, like you grow together. It's like a little family as such. It was really hard as a young girl because when I first started as well, I was like a little fat kid. I started the gym like just to lose weight, as you do. And then I saw like all the different weights, and I was like, I'm going to lose 10 kg to fight. My coach was like, do it, and I'll put you in for a fight. Bearing in mind, he never thought much of women's boxing back then. Like he thought, I'll just stick her in. Didn't think I was going to become like national champion, world medalist. You know what I mean? Like it's nice to see like my name on the boxing wall down the gym and that still.
Yeah, definitely. Did you lose 10 kilograms?
Yeah, so when I first started, I was about 60 kilograms, and then my first fight was at 45. I was like a stick.
No way. That's
I was like a stick, and then like obviously as I grew older, I put on a few kilo here and there.
Yeah. Oh, that's cool though. Yeah, and like you say, that's how the journey starts. So there's been quite a few say, I just done it to lose weight, and there's something about boxing that just hooks people. And
I feel like once you get, go on. Sorry.
That was good. And then look at you now, like you say, you've ended up traveling the world and you've won so many things, and now you're a pro.
It's crazy to look back now, to be honest. Like, because back then as well, you used to have to travel so long, like a good 3 hours, just to have a skills battle or something. And I still realise it's quite hard still now, but it's getting so much better compared to what it was. Like. You'd to ask like a young schools girl, how many belts have you had? And she'd say like 25, and I'd be like, oh my god, that's crazy. But that's just because there's so many girls out there now. Whereas I think I've had mid-30s, about 35 amateur belt, which is still pretty decent, to be honest, as an amateur. But it's just you visit places that you never thought you'd visit, and like the different shows as well that you've been on. Like you'd go to a show and there'd be like a massive town hall, and you'd be like, oh my god, as a young, that's just amazing. And then you go to a show and you're in the back corner and you have to warm up like in like a little square box. And it's like, oh my god, what am I doing here?
That's the thing with amateurs. Sometimes you have to travel to the most like bizarre places that you you definitely wouldn't choose to go on like holiday there, but it's what 100%. You have to do. I don't know if it was yesterday or a few days ago, you were at Gymshark, wasn't you, with Katie Taylor?
Yeah, the other day, on Monday.
How was that?
It's experience that you never thought you'd be, because obviously we got to train alongside her, like have pads with her and everything, and ask her different questions, like what she thought would be best, like what route to go down and what to do, how to transition from amateur to pro. Because there are slight changes that you do need to do, because as she said, when she lost in, I think it was the Rio Olympics in 2016, that was obviously the biggest loss of her career, but she made those slight changes to come back as a professional and to like, obviously be undisputed champion. But she's tiny. I didn't realise how small she was. Like, to stand next to her, I was like, oh my God, like, it's so weird.
What did you watch a performance at the weekend?
Yeah. I thought, you know what? I thought it's quite easy for her, to be honest. But at the end of the day, you've got to get through those fights to get the big ones, ain't you? Like, I know there's some good ones out there.
I think, and like people were criticising. I was like, well, it's a mandatory. You've got to do them. You can't just, I know you couldn't like buy them out and stuff, but you know, sometimes you've got to do them, and keeps her busy, doesn't it? Easy fight.
Yeah, at the end of the day, it keeps her busy. She got to do the full 10 rounds. I think it was a good warm-up fight for her, to prepare to get a good one next. Like you said, it's a mandatory. You've got no choice. It is what it is. At the end of the day, you've got to just get them out of the way of stuff. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Probably,
and I think
probably wasn't the best performance. So she probably could have got her out there, but it was a decent performance. And I think at her age now, she's looking for those big fights to like set that spark again.
Yeah, I said that. I said I don't think it was the best performance, but I think sometimes it's about the level of opponent. I think you can't always have the fight of your life. Like, you know, so you've just got to do enough to tick over to get the win, and then conserve your energy and move on to the next one, I suppose. Yeah,
like obviously she didn't have to do anything special. The girl didn't like cause anything to harm her or something. So she didn't have to empty the tank to like cause a slight injury or something, because it's quite easy at the age she's at to get a little niggle or something, and then that could postpone a later date fight. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So she did what she needed to do at the end of the day. Hopefully she could have a big one next.
Yeah, hopefully Amanda Serrano. That's what I want to say. But
yeah, that's a decent one.
I'm presuming like Katie must be one of your idols, because I feel like she's got to be every boxer's idol. Because if she's not, I just don't believe them.
100%.
But do you have anyone else who you love to watch or you look up to?
I'll tell you what, I do like what as boys or girls. Any. I do like, as a girl. To be fair, as a girl coming through, I do like Clarissa Shields.
Yeah.
Like, she's a good fighter. I feel like she just wants to pave women's boxing to be the best.
Yeah.
She's definitely got the talk to do what she needs to do. She doesn't take anything off anybody. She'll just say how it is. And I think that's the best way to be.
I like her. I think she gets a lot of criticism, but I think we'll be blunt and say she's earned the right to say, you know, she is one of the best. So when people say she shouldn't call herself
that as well, to be honest. Like you said, like she's earned the right in my eyes. Like, there's not many people that have done what she's done.
Yeah. So she can't say it, who can?
True. As a male boxer looking forward, I do like Lomachenko.
Yeah.
He's one of the world's best in my eyes. So his style was just beautiful to watch.
Yeah. Yeah, you could watch him all day. He's so slick in his movement, his head movement.
Like, you looked at him like, geez, like, ooh. Like, yeah. Honestly.
So you've recently signed with Unified Promotions. So I think you're their third fighter now, aren't you, to sign with them? So how are you feeling about that?
I'm really excited, to be honest. Obviously, it's a new thing that's come out recently, because to be honest, when I first signed with Richard Proxon, my manager, he's joined with Susanna, who's in control of Unified, and that's how I heard about it. And then Richard, that's the best route to go down, because we're all for women's boxing coming through and paving the way. Hopefully, the first show is going to be half girls, half boys, as such.
Mm-hmm.
I think that'll definitely, like I said earlier, bringing the next generation of girls forward. That's what it's about at the end of the day. Because sometimes you want, on an amateur show, you rarely see girl fights on home shows and stuff. But now, obviously, as a pro, you're starting to see a lot of women boxers fights and stuff. So if we can get half of each for one particular main show, for my debut or something, it would be really, really interesting.
Yeah, and that's what I like about Unified Promotions. I like the whole concept of it, because there are still too many shows where we don't see women on. Like, obviously we had the lead show, it was great because we had Katie, we had Ebanie, but there's still shows like coming up and there's no women on. I think there's more than enough now to be, there should be at least one female fight on each card.
Yeah, I feel like there's a load coming through. Like, there's a load turning over, and there's already a load that are professional. So like you said, I think every show should have at least one on. Just to get us out there, really, to keep us busy, because you see some men boxers, they're out there every other week. And I think that's one of the main things for me. I want to be kept busy. I do want to have fights every 2 months, as much as I can, really, just to gain the experience. Yeah,
because I was talking the other day and I was saying about how Campbell Hatton just seems to be out every show, which is fantastic. And then you've got someone like Ellie Scotney who turned, and we've already seen her out twice. And I understand the pool isn't as big for female fighters, but there is enough now. There is more than enough for fighters to be getting out every few months, especially when you've just turned over. Like, why would you only want to get out once or twice?
Yeah, and Ellie Scotney's amazing. She's definitely gonna, like,
Ellie Scotney.
If she was to be put up against like Ebanie Bridges, I really do think she'd end up stopping her, you know.
Well, did you see it was on Twitter and they were having Ellie was having a bit of a spat with her, and I thought that would be such a good fight. I would love to see that
what? I'd go with Scotney all the way. I'd say Scotney to stop Bridges, I'm not gonna lie. She's got a great talent. Yeah, I feel like she's top of that division. Even without the title, I'd still class her as top of the division. But like you said, she's got to get the experience, get a couple of more bouts under her belt before she has that title fight.
Yeah, because I mean, you can tell she's good, she's skilled, because she fought Beck Connolly on her debut. And I think anyone who will get in on their debut with Beck has to be half decent, because Beck's tough and she's very experienced. So she's not an easy
that's what I mean. And to fight her on a debut just says a story on its own, really.
Yeah, but someone like that, it's a shame. Like, she had Connolly, she's had Gangloff, and then she hasn't been able. I know she's meant to be out at fight camp, and I think she's had quite a few step backs because of COVID. So it must be quite frustrating.
Yeah, it's quite hard mentally, really. I'd say not so much physically, because at the end of the day, it's our job to be fit and continuous training. But I'd say it's had more of a mental impact, because you get yourself ready for a fight, and it's like, oh, you're not fighting, and then like you're just disappointed as such, because you work so hard, you get to your maximum, like optimum, and then it's like boom, you're down again. So I feel like hopefully soon she'll have another one, and then maybe the one after that she could fight for a title.
Yeah, hopefully she gets the ball rolling, because like you say, like I think physically, you've had a tough camp, but you can tick over, you can, refocus and stuff like that. But I do think mentally, like, I don't know how you've all coped with COVID, or there's loads of fights they get to fight week, then it's cancelled, and it would just be heartbreaking. I would find it heartbreaking.
It is heartbreaking, and I feel like, obviously I've not experienced that yet as a pro, but as an amateur, you'd still work hard, and you'd maybe like a week or so out, you'd be like, my coach would come to me, oh, the fight's off, and I'd be like, why? She's like, oh, she's got a little sniffle of a cold or something. And I'd be like, a little sniffle, get over yourself. You know what I mean? Like, this is boxing, we ain't even dancing. Obviously it's a bit more major than that in professional. But I do think now, obviously women's boxing and that coming through, I feel like, why not be fighting every month or every 2 months or so? Like you said, it's good ticking over, but when you've got something to aim for, I think that just takes you to the next level sometimes. Like, I picture it in my head, like even at night sometimes, like when I'm bored. It sounds weird, but if I've had a fight coming up in the past, I'll sit there on my phone watching through videos and just think about how the fight could proceed and stuff. Like, it's just continuously on my mind.
Yeah, I love stuff like that. So visualizing how you want it to go, I think all stuff like that works. I'm a big believer in that. If you believe it, you'll receive it.
Yeah, definitely. I love stuff like that too.
So you said that hopefully you'll be fighting the end of October. So I presume you're currently in training camp.
Yeah, so it's all going well, to be fair.
Good. What does a week in camp look like for you? Make me feel lazy. Make me feel really lazy.
A week in camp looks like for me. So I have to run 5 miles like 5 times a week as such now to make sure my weight's coming down nicely and stuff. Different kind of runs though. So like if it's a 5 mile or a fartlek run or sprint, so I have to do 5 runs each week. And then down the gym, each session is different. So I could do an interval, or if my coach has sorted some sparring out, we'll go down to another gym and do some rounds of sparring. And then with sparring, you do as much rounds as possible sometimes. Like you get in until you couldn't feel your legs, because I feel like that's what you need to prepare for. Yeah. I've always been told the first thing that goes are your legs in a fight, and it's true. Mm-hmm. Like you can, at the end, I know that women's boxing only goes to 10 and not 12. But I still feel like that's a long distance. You still need to be like mad fit for it. And then sometimes like obviously strength and conditioning sessions a couple of times a week. And then finally, obviously a rest day. But I tell you, on my rest day, I'm still aching so much. I just feel like that's the normal life for me now.
Yeah. What day is your rest day?
Sunday. Like all my mates are like, oh, shall we do this? So we go out for cocktails and food. And I'm like, oh, I just want to sit on the sofa and just watch some TV.
Yeah. But Sunday's the perfect day to have a rest day. It's just like a chill day, isn't it then?
It is, yeah. It's not like a Saturday where everyone wants to go out and stuff.
Yeah, yeah. Well, thank you for your time today. I really enjoyed chatting to you. And
thank you for having me.
No, and I wish you the best of luck in your fight in October, but hopefully I'll speak to you before then. And I really, really want to see this April Hunter fight. So try and get as many fights in as you can and get the fight made. I can't wait.
Yeah,
I'll be ringside for that one.
Thank you. Hope to see you from you soon.
Yeah, speak to you soon. Thanks for your time.
Thanks for watching. If you like this video, make sure you give it a thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe to the channel, ready for new content dropping all the time. Also, give Women's Fight News a follow on Twitter and on Instagram.